Alright, so now I'm gonna create the 45-degree angle of the head. So the next handouts that we're gonna be using is gonna be this one right over here. So the beginning is always the same. It's the ghosting. So we're gonna start with the ghosting. And now we're gonna add the cross, the 45-degree angle. So now it's not gonna be just a cross right in the middle, but it's gonna be on the sideways. So let's just start from the top of the head. Imagine that you're creating the cross contour drawing of the sphere like this, but the difference is that we have to create this bottom nose, the chin area, and now you want to extend the line straight down and you don't really have to curl it in. Now once you hit this bottom part of the sphere, just go ahead and bring it down straight, kind of like this. So it's really curly on the top and straight line on the bottom part. The side cross. So this side cross is gonna be kind of tricky because depends on if the person is looking down or looking up, then the side cross is going to be a little bit different. So in this case, this example right here, this is just no chin down or up. It's just going to be straight 45-degree angle like this. So I'm just going to make this line straight right over here, right in the middle. So let's say that the person is looking down and this cross should start going downward like this, right? So everything is going to go curve it down. If the person is looking up, like this. So it really depends on the angle, the tilt of the head, which way the person is looking at, then you can start changing this cross line. So just be careful. Today's assignment, I want you to really carefully look at the image that I'm sending you and make sure which way the cross should be. You can create those cross in your drawing. The next part is the temporal. This is the chopped up line on the side. When you look at the person from the 45-degree angle, you don't really have to chop the side. All you have to do is to kind of create this line over here. How this eye socket bone right here would create this nice curved line, and this flat side of the cranium starts from here, right in the middle. So another ghosting, and then we're gonna chop into 1/3 section. So eyebrows to the brow, brows to the bottom of the nose, bottom of the nose to the chin. 1, 2, and 3. So now we're gonna create from the top of the flat side of the cranium. That's gonna be the hairline, and then this middle line we just did. This is the eyebrow, and we have bottom of the nose over here, and the chin. You're gonna count 1, 2, 3. So you can just go ahead and eyeball it. It's gonna be around here. And the next part is to create the glabella. So the glabella is the triangle shape, looking like this. And the 45-degree angle, it's gonna be the same thing. There's a little bit of perspective happening. So that means that this side is gonna be a little bit longer than this diagonal of the triangle. Now we're gonna create the triangle from the bottom of the eyebrow. So it's not gonna be symmetry. This side of the glabella, the triangle, is gonna be slightly longer. So this little subtle length change would create the big difference. The next part is to create the brow line. The brow, yes, we have the peak, but again, this side of the head, there's a little perspective going on, so this side should be a little bit shorter, and maybe the peak would be happening really quickly right over here. You can create the brow from the glabella a little bit longer on this side, and the peak should be happening right next to this temporal, this flat side of the head. So you have a little space in here. Right, and then we have the nose. You're gonna create the top of the nose. We have the side plane. And let's just create the bottom plane. right over here. The bottom plane of the nose is always dark because this is just the bottom. It doesn't receive any light unless you have the light hitting from the bottom like a horror film. So this is gonna be all shaded. And the eyeball. So this side of the eyeball, you wouldn't see the entire sphere. It's just because it's hidden behind of this nasal bone right here. So you can just go ahead and do the ghosting, but not the entire sphere would be showing. It's gonna be sitting kind of like this. And the other side, of course, you can see the whole thing. The tear duct should line up on the wing of the nose. So now you can kind of start doing the drawing of the vertical line. Or you can just simply make this side plane slightly wider so that it will match. So here is the adjustment that you can practice on. So here's the important part of the 45-degree angle. I'm gonna do it really slow. So the next part is the forehead and the facial line. When you do the frontal of the human head, all you have to be careful is basically this like diagonal jawline that we just did. But from the 45-degree angle, especially when it comes to this like brow ridge to the eyeballs to the cheekbone area, that's the really complicated part. So let me show you how to do or how this works. So the first thing you want to do is the forehead. You can just follow this ghosting circle line that we did. So this is just going to be super simple. Male forehead is a little more boxier shape and the female forehead is rounder and smoother. But for this robot head, you can just follow this ghosting line to create the forehead like this. The next part is the brow ridge or this like eyebrow bump that you can see over here. I'm Asian, so I don't really have that brow ridge sticking out. When you usually look at it from the 45-degree angle like this, you can see how this bone kind of sticks out and create this nice round projection, and that's something you want to do. So I'm talking about, so the forehead starts here and this bump right here. So this is the brow bump or the brow ridge bump that you want to do. And we have the eye socket and the bowl is going to be sitting right underneath it over here. Okay, so now I'm going to make this stick out and bring it down to the end of the eyebrow. Next part is going to be the eyelid shape that goes down to almost like the corner of the eye. So we have the brow bump and then the eyelid round form that goes down to the tear, the corner of the eye right here. So I'm just gonna create another round form. It's a little smoother, of course, because it's just the skin. It's not the bone. Right over here, and we have another round form, the eyeball right here. And the last part is the cheekbone. The cheekbone would always stick out. So this bone right here goes down, cheekbone sticks out, and then goes to the cheek. Okay, so I'm gonna create the cheekbone. Some people have high cheekbone, some people have more like flatter, square. Everybody's different. Now, cheekbone to the cheek round form over here, and then we have the chin here. So this is the characteristic line of the 45-degree angle of the portrait. So we have the smooth line for the forehead. We have the bump of the eyebrow, another smooth tone, smooth line for the eyelid and the eyeball. The cheek sticks out and then narrows down to the cheek and the chin. So there's another rhythm going on here, right? Smooth, bump, smooth, bump, smooth. And it just goes on like this, just like gesture drawing. And the next part is to finally create the jawline. So we're just gonna finish up the entire head. So just continue from the chin, get this nice angle, this nice diagonal angle, bring it up to the ear. So the chin's over here, make this diagonal angle. And when you create this final diagonal line for the jaw, make sure that you bring it up to this like middle dot of this oval ghosting that we did earlier. And that should line up like this. Okay, so now we have the jawline. And the next part is to create this shadow underneath the eyebrows to this eyelid area, eyeball. Same thing. Well, this part right here, this we already have the sections. We have the curve for the eyeball, we have the eyebrow line, we have the eyelid curve. So this is the shaded area. This is pretty simple. And this one, same thing. You're gonna bring down to the corner of the eye from the end of the eyebrow like this, and then the glabella to the tear duct. And shade it. And now we have the lips and the ears. So you know where the ear location is. That's in between the brow and also the bottom of the nose, right above the jawline, right over here. And the lips are gonna be the 1/3 area from the bottom of the nose to the chin. So just go ahead from here to here, eyeball it, and draw the line on this 1/3, upper 1/3 area. So this is 1/3. Corner of the lips is gonna be lining up on the inner line of the iris here, and maybe here. Perspective, it's not gonna be symmetry. The upper lip is gonna be darker. Skip the bottom lip and create the cast shadow. Now we're gonna create this cheek shading area, so the side planes. Now we're gonna be using this ghosting to find out where the cheekbone, the highlight is gonna be. You can take a look at this bump, the cheekbone bump that you created, and just go ahead and do the swing. In this way, you can create the left and right symmetrical even in the 45-degree angle. And this side is gonna be the shaded area. And I guess though you don't really see the other side, but I'm just gonna add the tiny bit. Also the temporal shadow, this flat angle of the side of the head. So this is gonna be from the peak of the eyebrows to this hairline and the flat angle of the head. So this to this, draw the line. And now we're just gonna use this circle shape of the ghosting oval shape and bring it down. Alright, and then let's just create the neck. So when you do the 45-degree angle of the neck, you don't really have to make the neck straight down. I want you to create the curve of the neck bone. So again, this neck is gonna be starting from the bottom of the ear. Create a nice curve towards the back, going backwards like this. Cylinder shape. And that's pretty much it for the neck form. Most of the time you will probably see a lot of foam shadow happening from the chin into this neck area. So if you want to do the shading here, go ahead, but you don't have to do it too much. Sometimes you will see the shading, the cast shadow coming from the chin like this. So this is the 45-degree angle of the head. Alright, so I just showed you the frontal view and also the 45-degree angle of the head. And now I'm going to be using this photo that's attached into your handouts, and I'm going to show you how to create this funny angle of the head. Not straight, but it's going to be a little bit of chin up. So this picture is a really good example of like using this generic information of that robot head to create this different angle. When you see the chin up, that means that you will see a little more bottom of the nose playing, And also there's a little perspective going on right over here. So this 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3 part is not gonna be exactly the equal length, but it's gonna be in a little more perspective, which means that the bottom of the nose to the chin is gonna be maybe a little bit longer than the forehead area. So let's draw this one together. If you need to, what I recommend is to directly create this first step, this ghosting and the cross directly onto this picture that I sent you. Cranium is the top of the head to the bottom of the nose, right over here. So the ghosting should be happening here first. And in this picture, she's just not putting the chin up a little bit, but the angle is a little bit tilted on this side, right? It's like a little diagonal angle. So this one you can also do the angle, the straight line going this way. And the curve of that middle line, which is the eyebrow, that's gonna be coming, it's gonna be creating a lot of nice cross contour lines going like this. So this is the first step. So yeah, if you need to directly draw those directional line into the handouts, yeah, please go ahead and do this, because that's gonna definitely help you to find out the right angle. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the ghosting. And now the next part is the cross. So I'm gonna make it a little bit tilted. And the side, the eyebrow line, is gonna be really curved up, because the chin up angle is gonna make this line also curve up as well. So it's gonna start from here. And the next part is to chop the side. Actually, for that looked up view, you can just follow this hairline. And in this picture, you can see how the hairline is going this way. And it just simply because of the perspective, that's creating another diagonal line. So take a look at the picture. And now we're gonna create the chop for the side plane. All right, and the next part is to create the 1/3, 1/3, and the 1/3 line. And again, because of the perspective, maybe the forehead is gonna be slightly smaller, just like you can see right over here. So we have the ghosting circle to the middle line. So that's 1/3 right here. And then now we're gonna create the bottom of the nose. That's gonna be somewhere over here. Just keep that curve happening. One-third. And the bottom of the nose to the chin is gonna be a much bigger proportion. When you look at it, like right here, you can just kind of take this, fingers and make, like you can kind of easily find out how big this is gonna be. 1/3, 1/3, and I'm just gonna make this chin slightly bigger. So now in this sketch, you can see how the proportion gets bigger and bigger towards the bottom, and it just because we have the perspective going up this way, the forehead, it's going to be naturally much smaller shape. And then let's create the glabella. It's going to be exactly the same basically, but I would also make the bottom part a little bit curvier so that it's going to fit into this entire curvature that you have. The eyebrow, we still have the mountain form. We have the peak. And then the next part is to create the nose. So this picture, you can definitely see more of the bottom of the nose plane. So let's just simply start with the nasal, the top, the bridge of the nose. And then I'm just gonna create this big triangle form right here for the bottom of the nose. see a tiny bit, so let me just add it a little bit. There. So the bottom plane, you can see even more. Let me just make it shaded too. So yeah, once you start following this curvy line, the first stage that we create, then you can naturally create this like interesting like chin up angle. So now you can see this angle, and now you can also see how this first step is very important to create the angle too, right? All right, let's get the eyeball. In this picture, it looks like the eyelid is coming down lower because she's looking down also. We're just doing a sphere for the eyeball, so you can just leave it as it's kind of funny, but it's okay. The next part is to create the shading of the eye socket. And then we are going to create the lips. So now you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you look at the upper lip in this picture, the upper lip tone is much darker than the bottom lip, right? The bottom lip is, it receives more light, so it's much lighter. And you can see this nice cast shadow that's happening from the bottom lip. The line of the lip is also gonna be curved just like this. And the corner of the lip is gonna be the inner line of the iris, so you can just do the line like that if you need to. The upper lip is gonna be darker, so I'm just gonna shade it. Skip the bottom lip. I'm gonna add the cast shadow of the lower lip, and it's just gonna be like this. And then we are going to create the jawline. So the jawline you can see very clear in this picture, but the weird thing is that because of the chin up angle, you can see the bottom right here. We see the bottom plane of the chin. So that's something I have to create in this picture. But the side you can see really nicely. So let's just start from here. So the first is, of course, this first diagonal angle that goes down like this, and then bring it down to the chin. And this chin also already has this nice curve right here, right? Because that's what we were following for this ghosting sketching part. Here is gonna be the bottom plane. That's gonna be a little more shaded. Then we are going to add the ear. So the ear location is always the same. It's always in between this brow line to the nose area. When you look at it from the straight view, it's always sitting over here, but looking up angle, look. So now the ear is gonna go much lower like this. So you can just use this eyebrow line to the bottom nose line. Bottom nose line, extend the line over here, and that's where the ear is supposed to be. Like this. And then now we're just gonna start adding more shading. So you can start doing the cheek bone highlights over here. Go ahead and swing. And yeah, you can see the nice shading happening on her cheek right over here. So you can just take a look at the picture and make sure that it's nice and symmetrical. Create the shading. And the temporal, this side, you can do this top part to the peak of the brow, and that's where you can kind of see this darker tones of the forehead. Shade it, shade it. And that's it. And then you're just gonna finish the shape of the head, shape of the skull, or the hair. You don't really have to do the hair, but just finish up with the shape of the skull. And then you're gonna add the neck, cylinder, and that's it. So this is how you create the different angle of the head. So we were doing the curve up for this 1/3 angles, but if you see that person looking down, then that's going to be downward curve. Okay, so this is it for today's lecture. And for the assignment, please take a look at the handouts that I sent you. There are 10 images of the model head doing this angle, that angle, all the different angles. So what I want you to do is to create this robot head following those photos. Understanding the subtle angle of the head is going to be very tricky, so that's what I'm going to be looking at specifically for this assignment. If it's necessary, then you can just go ahead and draw those guidelines. You can directly just draw this robot head right on the picture so that you can transfer it onto the picture. That's totally fine with me. That's going to help you to do understand more facial planes. And please don't hesitate to send me the work in progress picture also. Alright, so good luck with your robot head assignment. Bye.